This book is called Big Pet Day by Lisa Shanahan. Today is Pet Day in Lily's class. Courtney is trying to make her hermit crabs come out. Ahmed is whistling at his peach-faced parrots. Ming is stroking her grey mouse. Caleb's puppy is chewing his tail. Sophia's duck is waddling on the mat. Mrs. Dalton is chasing Glenn's ferret. Lily is singing to her dragon. Mrs. Dalton catches Glenn's ferret in the dress-up corner and sticky tapes him back into his box. She wants to keep the classroom tidy because Mr. Fisher, the head teacher, is coming later to judge the best pet. "Excuse me, Mrs. Dalton," says Courtney. "Jodie's pony is at the door and it just did a poo." Mrs. Dalton rests her head. What is happening to our best pet behaviour? Lily puts up her hand. "When my dragon burps," she says, "he always covers his mouth." "There's no such thing as dragons," says Courtney. After Mrs. Dalton cleans up, everyone sits on the mat and talks about their pets. "My hermit crabs like to move house," says Courtney. "My parrots like kissing," says Ahmed. "We thought our mouse was a boy," says Ming, "until she had 12 babies." "My dog likes to chew on my dad's pants," says Caleb. "My duck swims in the bath with me," says Sophia. "My ferret sleeps in the washing machine," says Glenn. "My pony was in the circus," says Jodie. "My dragon tells great jokes," says Lily. "Dragons are only in fairy tales," says Courtney. "I had a pet like Lily's when I was a little girl," says Mrs. Dalton, "an aardvark called Annie." Everyone rolls around and laughs at the idea of Mrs. Dalton being a little girl. At playtime, Caleb's puppy and Glenn have a dry dog food eating competition. Mrs. Dalton darts across the playground. "Yoo-hoo!" she calls. "What is your puppy eating?" "Half a bag of dog food," says Caleb with a small grin. "And Glenn's big bottle of juice," says Courtney. "Oh, my word!" cries Mrs. Dalton. "He'll be sick." "My dragon never gets sick," says Lily. "But he does like cough sweets, even though he doesn't have a cough." "You're making that up," says Courtney. After playtime, everyone sits at their desk and draws a picture of their pet. When the pictures are finished, Mrs. Dalton tacks them up. "Who do you think looks most like their pet?" she asks. The whole class votes for Jodie and her pony, then Glenn and his ferret, then Sophia and her duck. But everyone loves Lily's picture best. At lunch, Jodie's pony does tricks in the playground. She can count to 3 with her hoof and spin a hula hoop at the same time. Ming's mouse dives into her pocket and brings out some cheese. Caleb's puppy plays football. Sophia's duck drinks from the water fountain. Glenn's ferret dances on the library steps. "Look," says Lily, "my dragon can write my name in the sky." "Wow," says Glenn. "That's just a cloud," says Courtney. After lunch, everyone gets ready for the grand parade. "Now, don't forget Mr. Fisher is coming," cries Mrs. Dalton. Courtney lines up her crabs like soldiers. Ahmed polishes the mirror in his parrot's cage. Ming fluffs the fur around her mouse's ears. Caleb clips on his puppy's best collar. Sophia sprays her duck with some water. Glenn's ferret wears a sparkly bow tie. Jodie braids her ponytail with ribbons. Lily whispers a story to calm her dragon's nerves. Then Mr. Fisher, the head teacher, is there, with his loud, crunchy voice and his stiff, woolly hair. He hugs a big gold trophy while the whole class parades around the room. But Glenn trips. Nay, quack, 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 squeak, eek! Mr. Fisher screams and screams as 5 tiny hermit crabs skitter about his feet. Lillendracky roars and roars and roars until everything is quiet. Ooh, breathes Mr. Fisher. Oh, gasps Courtney. Oh, sighs Mrs. Dalton with a smile. Thank you. After Mrs. Dalton searches out every last hermit crab, and the whole class sits on the mat and votes with Mr. Fisher. And everyone cheers when Lily's dragon wins the big gold trophy for best pet.